You are watching Influence Media, PSI TV, the Netflix of biz brands.
My guest today is Karen Ford. She's a former registered nurse, and her joy in helping to restore health to those she serves is the same spirit with which she moves to bring people to break the chains of debt. She's a best-selling author of the book Money Matters, and she's a financial coach and a motivational speaker. Karen, thank you for being my guest today.
My pleasure. I'm happy to be here with you.
Awesome. Karen, I am so curious. What would cause you, an RN, to leave what for everybody would consider not only a well-respected job, but for the most part, not a bad paying one too? What would have you change careers?
You know, that is a question that is asked of myself a lot. And I have to say this, Trudy, I love to help people. And several years ago, I had a friend of mine tell me, Karen, you're great with numbers, you're great with money. I think you ought to get some more training in that area. And I did. And I absolutely fell in love with it. It's a passion. So nursing at that time was changing to a lot of handwritten charting to all computer, and the computer charting actually slowed things down. So I was happy to transition to become a master financial coach. And I look at it like this. As a nurse, I helped people get healthy physically, but as a master financial coach, I help people get healthy financially. And if you have stress, money related issues cause stress. And if you have stress, stress can cause a lot of health issues, meaning high blood pressure, migraines, all kinds of things. So I'm still helping people.
Fantastic. You're right about that. So Money Matters is only one of your books, and that's one of your bestsellers. The others, can you tell us about the other books as well?
Certainly. 31 Days to a Greater Understanding of Money. That's the first book I wrote, and that title's too long. But it's a 31-day devotional, and I wrote that because I thought, well, first of all, it might be a little bit easier to write, but I thought, a lot of people use devotions every day, so I thought I'd write a 31-day devotional that can be used month after month. Money Nuggets is a mini book. It's a great stocking stuffer. It has lots of different quotes and quips in it for people to think about money. And then another book I wrote is called You Can Do It, because it encapsulates everything about real estate investing. I am an avid real estate investor. So whether you want to buy and sell, buy and flip, buy and rent, it's all in that book.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about Money Matters. If someone did grab a copy of Money Matters, what can they anticipate, look forward to in those pages?
Well, first of all, you're going to learn how to properly budget, because some people budget, but they don't know how to properly budget so that you actually have more money at the end of the month by the time you pay all your bills. You're also going to learn how to demolish debt quickly. You're going to learn how to invest and build wealth. And also you're going to learn about how to think correctly about money, because thoughts become words, words become actions, actions become habits, and habits become a way of life. So if you're saying or thinking, I'll never get out of debt, I'll never get out of debt, I'll never get out of debt, then everything within you is going to move you towards you'll never get out of debt. So thinking about money properly is another great chapter in that book.
Well, there's a coaching though.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So dreaming is free. Dreaming is absolutely free. I always say dream big, then dream bigger. So dreaming is free. Let's walk towards a vision. Let's cast a vision for ourselves. Where do you, Karen, see yourself and your business, say, in the next 5 years? What's a big goal you would like to really accomplish?
I'm going to be coaching a lot more people than I am presently. I'm going to have written 2 more books. Oh, 2 more books focused on building wealth, and one towards women. Also, more speaking engagements, more conferences, just everything bigger, broader, better, and more. and more real estate investing for me personally as well.
I always like the word more. It's my
More.
favorite word, more.
That's right.
All right. Well, Karen, is there anything else that you would like to share?
I would have to say to the listening and viewing audiences, it does not matter how much debt you have, your situation is not hopeless because if you got into debt, you can certainly get out of debt.
Well, speak to the hopelessness of some of those people because it sounds good to hear and to say, but there's some people who truly feel, yeah, it sounds good. What speak to that hopeless person who maybe even considering suicide because their debt is just so bad. What do you say to that person?
I would have to say, look, you and this not to sound offensive, but you can't get blood out of a turnip. So if you have creditors hounding you and calling you, I always take the active approach. I don't take, an approach where you avoid them. If they call, answer the phone and say, "Look, I want to pay you. You deserve your money, but I just can't right now." And actually take the approach where you're calling them instead of them calling you, because that's a shocker to them that someone actually called and said, "You deserve your money. I want to pay you." And that actually leans them towards listening to you because that usually does not happen. And then they'll work with you on a month to month basis. One month you may be able to give them $10, and another month you may not be able to give them anything. But if you will take the active approach and call them, you're going to be in the driver's seat instead of the creditors being in a driver's seat and hounding you with those phone calls.
Karen, what would be the ideal audience for you? The ideal person you can help the best, the easiest, the fastest? What would be that person?
Number one, you want to get out of debt. If you're the type of person that you don't really care, you have debt, but you know, your wife or your husband is making you go to a coaching appointment, I can't really help you. It has to be someone that is sick and tired of being sick and tired. You don't want to be in debt any longer. You are not sure, or a person who doesn't know how to budget, they were never taught how to properly budget, or you're a person who truly does want to build wealth. But the key word here is you have to want to. You have to want to, because if you want to, I can help you.
On that note, is there a case study that you can share with the audience? Just kind of give an idea of what it would be like to work with you and the kind of outcomes they can look forward to.
I can give you an example of a couple that I coached about 5 years ago. They were in their late 30s, and I sat down with them for the first coaching session, and I asked various questions to them. And I was towards the end, and I said, "Is there any other debt?" And we had already listed all of their debts. And her face turned beet red. This is a married couple. Her face turned beet red, and she said, "I have some credit cards he doesn't know about." I said, "Okay, so we listed them. Is there anything else?" And his face turned beet red, and he said, "I have some credit cards she doesn't know about." When it was all said and done, this couple had 86 credit cards, and every one of those cards had a balance on them. And so working with them, I said, "This is not going to be World War III. Both of you were wrong. This is not a marriage counseling session. We're going to move on and attack this debt." So that's one example. It doesn't matter how many credit cards you have, how much debt you have. I'm going to work with you. You're not going to feel shame. You're not going to feel guilt. There is hope for you and there is help for you. And the session is totally confidential.
Oh, that's excellent. That's good to know. Well, I know I asked this before, but is there anything else?
Budget is not a four-letter word.
No, it's not. Well, there you have it, guys. Karen Ford, my amazing guest today, registered nurse turned master financial coach. You can connect with Karen at karenford.org, and I will put that in the credits so there's no question about the spelling. KarenFord.org. Thank you, Karen, for being my guest today and helping people find that hope and a resource for strategies and actions in you. Thank you.
Thank you, Trudy. My pleasure.